If you walk out that door tonight, don't come back. This is the story of Leon and Jelly. One evening, Jelly was getting ready for a party. She applied her makeup carefully and picked out her favorite dress. "I'm going to a colleague's birthday party," she told Leon. "Don't wait up. I might be back late." Leon sat on the couch watching her move quickly around the room. "You're going out too often, Jelly," he said in a calm tone, though his heart felt uneasy. "Every time you leave, I get this sinking feeling that something isn't right." Jelly paused briefly, her face showing a flicker of discomfort. She avoided his gaze as she reached for her heels. "You're overthinking," she said quietly, though her voice betrayed a hint of tension. "It's just a small get-together." Leon didn't let it go. "It's not just about going out. It's that you never really tell me where you're going or who you're with. It feels like you're hiding something from me." The room grew heavy with silence. Jelly looked briefly confused, unsure how to respond. Leon stood from his chair, his face tired and filled with concern. "Don't go out tonight," he said, his voice low but firm. "I can't take this anymore, watching you walk out like it doesn't mean anything." Annoyance flashed across Jelly's face, though she tried to keep herself composed. "It's just a party, Leon. I'll be back later, I promise." "That's not the point," Leon said, cutting her off. "This isn't about what time you come home. It's about how distant you've become. You don't seem to care about us anymore. I feel like I'm the only one trying to hold this relationship together." Jelly looked conflicted. Her eyes darted toward Leon for a brief moment before shifting toward the front door. "I don't want to argue," she said. "I just want to have a good time with my friends tonight. That's all." Leon's voice was suddenly colder, more resolute. "If you walk out that door tonight, then don't bother coming back." Her hand froze on the doorknob. His words struck her like a blow. She hadn't expected it to go this far. "What are you saying?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I mean exactly what I said," Leon replied. "I can't take this anymore, Jelly. I've reached my limit. If you leave tonight, it's over." Jelly stood still for a moment, staring at him with a confused expression. She could feel the weight of what he had just said, the finality of it. But then, with a deep breath, she chose to ignore it. "We'll talk later, Leon. It's just a party." "Don't make it more than it is," she said, her tone firm. She turned the doorknob and walked out without looking back. The door closed with a hollow sound, leaving the room in a heavy silence. Leon remained on the sofa, his gaze fixed on the door. The echo of her last words lingered painfully in his chest. She picked the party. She picked her friends. Not me, he thought, the pain growing sharper. He sat in the dark, overcome by sadness and disbelief. About an hour later, Leon received a call from a friend. "I saw your wife," the friend said. "She was walking with another man. Just thought you should know." Leon tried to get more information, but his friend didn't have much to add, only that he'd seen Jelly and a man together on the street. The image haunted Leon as he sat there alone, his thoughts spinning. The pain in his chest deepened. "I can't live like this anymore," he thought. The next morning, Leon acted as if nothing had happened. Jelly, a little ashamed of how things had gone the night before, didn't bring it up either. She got dressed for work quietly. Leon didn't speak a word. She had no idea what was happening in his mind, how the silence between them now meant more than any argument. Leon watched her go with sadness in his eyes. As the door closed behind her, he let out a long sigh, as if releasing something that had been building for a long time. Then, with a quiet resolve, he began packing a few clothes and personal items. The decision he had made in his heart was final. The love might not have vanished completely, but something had changed, and there was no turning back. The suitcase was packed, just a few belongings, barely enough to begin again. With it in hand, Leon stepped out of the house. It wasn't a rash decision, but something he'd mulled over throughout the night. On his way out, he stopped at the bank and withdrew the money from a joint account they had built over time. He didn't look back, didn't second-guess. Leon was heading toward a new chapter, a new destination. When Jelly returned home, everything seemed normal at first, until she noticed the emptiness. Leon's clothes, his luggage, and even some personal items were missing. Only silence and space remained in the house they once shared. Her heart began to race, panic building slowly. She grabbed her phone with trembling hands and called Leon, her voice barely steady as the phone rang over and over. When he finally answered, her panic spilled out. "Why didn't you tell me? Did I do something wrong?" she asked, tears close to falling. "I know why, Jelly," Leon responded. "You can't live like this in our relationship anymore. I ignored so many signs. You chose parties, friends, and worse, I was betrayed." Jelly's voice cracked as she replied, "So I'm just supposed to accept it?" "That's not what I meant," she continued. "I just needed space. I didn't realize it would hurt you this much. Please come back. Let me explain." But Leon cut her off coldly. "There's no need. Your explanation doesn't matter anymore. This marriage is over." Before she could say anything else, the line went dead. He had hung up, leaving Jelly stunned and devastated. Tears streamed down her face, her heart aching with loss and regret. She still loved him, but it felt too late to make things right. Leon moved to a new city after leaving the life they had built together. At first, the solitude was difficult, but gradually, being free from the tension and emotional weight brought him peace. In that new place, he met Lena, a kind, intelligent woman who had also recently ended a relationship. What began as casual conversations slowly grew into a deeper connection. Lena listened to Leon's story without judgment and gently encouraged him to heal. They spent time together in simple ways, sharing meals, walking through parks, and gradually forming a bond of comfort and trust. As the months passed, their relationship deepened. A year after his marriage to Jelly ended, Leon proposed to Lena in a flower garden where they often walked. She said yes, her smile full of warmth and joy. Back in the home they had once shared, Jelly's life unraveled. The excitement, the parties, and the attention faded. The house felt colder, emptier each day. She had lost a person who truly loved her, and now there was no one left to confide in or turn to. She was left to face the aftermath of her decisions alone. In another story, a man had been with his girlfriend for over 4 years. They had a strong, loving relationship, and he was certain he wanted to marry her. But recently, he went out drinking with friends, hitting several bars. At some point, a flower vendor appeared, and he ended up with a bouquet of roses. He couldn't remember if he bought them or if a friend did. Bits and pieces of the night came back. He recalled trying to give the roses to another woman, who thankfully declined. The following day, a friend reminded him of how badly he had blacked out, how he had to be carried home, and vaguely mentioned there were other girls involved. Though the man couldn't remember much, he had felt nothing but guilt since. His girlfriend was kind, trustworthy, and someone he deeply admired. He couldn't imagine her ever doing anything similar. The guilt weighed on him, not because of specific betrayal, but because of the possibility of crossing a line. Since that night, he had stopped drinking completely, recognizing that he had a problem. Now he was torn. Should he tell her, risking their relationship and her trust, or should he carry the guilt quietly, having learned his lesson and vowed never to repeat it?